It's not as important that you do these things. It's important that these things are the right things to do. I am Antoine Davis, managing partner at Fourth Park. We're a branding and marketing agency based in Atlanta, Georgia. We help clients like you with your branding, marketing, design. We help create alignment around those efforts. Today, I'm going to be talking with you about two things. One of these things you may have heard of, another I'm sure you may have not. It's a thing called IPAs and KPIs. So you might have heard of a KPI. It's a pretty popular term. It stands for Key Performance Indicator. It's a business term, a tech-related term. Most business professionals who've been in business have at some level interacted with this term or have to have these type of things in order for them to operate in business. But the everyday entrepreneur, small business owner, startup business, that might not even be something you've ever even heard of or even incorporated. So I want to unpack this with you today in this whole conversation around the importance of KPIs and IPAs. So your time is one of the most valuable assets and commodities that you have. What you do with your time truly determines your outcome. And what we've seen, not only as an agency, but even me as an individual, that when we assess a lot of the time that our clients use in their terms of their operation, there's a lot of inefficiencies. Ultimately, there's an improper assessment of time. And so when you look at your day, how you're spending your day as a business owner, structuring your business, whether you're trying to figure out sales and marketing, whether you're trying to figure out who you need to market to, you only have a certain amount of time in a day. And what we've learned is that people have a difficulty assessing what should I be doing on a day-to-day basis as a business owner? What are the proper activities? What are the right activities to do? And from our assessment, one of the biggest hindrances in business is doing the wrong activities. So when we talk about KPIs, this whole idea of key performance indicators, this has everything to do with time, the value of your time, and the activities that you do during those times. So I think something that we're going to explore today is how do you first identify what a KPI is, how do you start to institute that into your day-to-day practice, and ultimately, how do you measure that in terms of your performance? Because on the other side of that is this opportunity for you to actually have a daily routine that helps you meet your goals, a daily routine that actually helps you accelerate to get to your business goals. So we're going to explore that in this conversation. So one of the things that we've done with one of our clients, it's a restaurant of ours that we work with, is that we've helped them with managing their website. We've helped streamline some systems around project management with all of their websites. And as a restaurant, this particular type of company has multiple locations. They have different levels of staff members, from their executive team, their sales and marketing team, all the way down to their actual employees who work on site at the restaurants. And there are activities that are happening all day long. I mean, these activities range from prepping food, taking orders, processing sales, packaging those orders and actually handing them to the customer, running marketing strategy, running sales campaigns. All of these things and activities are handled by individual people on a daily basis. And without a clearly defined KPI for each of those individuals, an operation to that size couldn't run efficiently or effectively. So a KPI, when you look closely into it, it is a measurement a rubric to your actual performance success. So a lot of times you look at like your day-to-day, you wake up, I'm sure we all have like routines that we do in terms of our daily practice just to get up out the bed and get dressed for the day. But in terms of your business operations, what are the specific tasks that you do regularly that actually allows you to get from point A to point B in your business? Have you done any steps to identify those activities, and what are the things you're doing to audit them? So I'm gonna take you through this process that we use to kind of establish this, and I think it could help you as well. The first thing we're going to talk about is this whole process of discovering your KPIs. So the first thing you could do with that is just kind of go over these set of questions. What are your day-to-day activities that you do in your business? Sit down, make a list of those activities. It could be something as simple as I have to check the emails 2 or 3 times a day. I'm sure it's more than that, 5 or 10 times a day. We have to make certain phone calls with clients. Depending on what industry you're in, like with us, we do graphic web design, social media. So it may be each day we are going in and actually making a specific update to a website. You may be creating an actual social media graphic to put out or posting content or writing that blog post, whatever that activity is on a day-to-day. It may be handling your financials, logging into QuickBooks, logging transactions, creating invoices. There are a lot of activities that go on to operate a business. So taking the time to make an exhaustive list of all of those activities that you can think of and putting them in one location or one place. The next thing you want to do is that you want to do that same activity for your team. So if it's just you, then it'll only be you doing this exercise. But if you have other people on your team, you want to go and do that same process with each person on your team. What are all of the activities that they're doing in terms of operating in your business? You want to point out all of those things. The next thing you want to ask is why? And that might just be, because we need to have a social media presence, so we're posting. But giving like a quick answer as to why I'm actually performing each of these tasks, mapping out those whys, because that's going to help you kind of drive this next thing, which is the defining part. Once you've created this exhaustive list, the next thing you're going to want to do is actually define a ranking order for this list. So you might have 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe even 50 tasks that you do in a given day. I don't know if it's that big, but some people do. Some people are that busy. You may have a lot of tasks that you do in a given day. Your team may have a lot of tasks. And you want to organize those tasks and those activities and rank them by performance and results. Which of these particular types of activities yield the highest performance results for your business? In other words, what activities are paramount to the success of your business? And when you start to rank and organize these things from most important to least, you will see a couple of things. One is you'll be able to identify some tasks you're doing that are insignificant, irrelevant, and inefficient. Because I'm pretty sure you, like all of us, spend a portion of your day in activities that don't perform well for your business. So this process is also like a mini audit, if you will, in this whole ranking order. It's a mini audit to assess your time, your team's time, and the activities you're doing day to day. So this whole highest yielding activity, that perspective and lens of thought is one of the benchmarks for how you actually create a high-performing team, a high-performing company. If you haven't even taken time to assess the order of your activities, then there's probably no wonder why your company isn't as efficient and effective as it could be. So that one thing alone, just that ranking of activities and isolating out the ones that are irrelevant and then focusing and dialing in on the ones that are the most important ones is going to be key to this exercise. The next thing you're going to want to do in this defining phase is you're going to want to identify your top 5 highest yielding activities. Now, these top 5 are like your core. They're the most important things that you must be doing on a daily basis to perform in your business operations so that you can succeed, so that you can actually get from point A to point B. You want to do that same process with each person on your team, because you may trickle down to, there's about 15 things that we have to do. But even in those 15 things that are really important, what are your core 5? Because the reason why I want to say this, who knows what a given day could yield for you? You might wake up and have a variety of fires you have to put out in a given day that you might not be able to get to your typical 20 tasks or 15 tasks. But that core 5, at some level, you should be touching those 5 activities each day. That's a big deal. I promise you that's a big deal. The next thing I will get into is this phase called your develop phase, which is now that you've kind of identified that list, you've put together what you feel is your top 5, then I want you to set this thing to a daily activity checklist. So you're not just going to write it down somewhere and disappear and like not look at it again. This is something that you should be living with on a daily basis. It should live with you daily in a format where you can actually check it off. Like, did I do this task? Did I do these 5 tasks today? In other words, how do you even know you've won the day? I mean, that's a good question to think about. How do I know if I have won the day? Like literally won. Did I win today? On this day, am I winning in the day? How do I know that? How do I even assess that? You know, how does your team know if they've won the day? So establishing not only this list, you know, getting it truncated down to your top 5 core, but then now turning that core into a checklist that you check off. Now, some of you all might have certain days of the week where you do certain things, and then other days of the week where you do different things. And if those different things are both high yielding activities that must be done, then you might have 2 separate lists or checklists of your top 5 or top 3 that you do. But at this whole develop phase is all about establishing that checklist and putting it into a format and an environment that you can keep it in front of you. Whether you use, like in the iPhone, you might have the reminder app that you use and you put it in there, and every day that same list refreshes itself. There are tons of different apps and tools you can use to actually administer this type of activity, but you're gonna want something that you use on a daily basis, even if it's a actual notepad that you just write it out each day with a box next to it and you just check it off each day. But this is how you know that you have won the day. The last part is the deliver phase, which is basically implementing this. So now that this is set, you have the system, you have a checklist that you can use. Now you got to implement this and put it in rotation. And this is now your daily practice. This is your getting up, brushing your teeth type activity, you know, taking a bath. It's similar to that kind of behavior. It's the thing you must do each day to win the day. So you want to start implementing that on a regular basis. And then I recommend on a weekly basis and especially a monthly basis, audit those activities. It's not as important that you do these things. It's important that these things are the right things to do. It's not important so much that you do these things, though that's highly important. It's more important that these are the right things to do. Why? Because the average person in business does not know their KPIs. The average person in business definitely is not implementing these KPIs, and even more so, they're not auditing them to make sure. Now we're in month 2, in Q3 or whatever part of the year, are these still the right activities that I should be doing? Now I want to talk to you about something else, your IPAs. Now the IPA is, I don't know if it's a newer term, but it's a term that people don't really use as much. It stands for income producing activities. These are subset activities within your KPIs, but these activities are specifically related to the bottom line. Now you could be in the middle of doing KPIs all day, but if it's not generating revenue for your business, it's only a certain amount of time until you're out of business. So not only do you want to be doing operational activities in your business that are high yielding activities and are the right activities, you also want to be doing activities that drive revenue. And that is everything from handling activities related to sales, making sure that you complete the invoice, making sure that the invoice is paid on time, going out after new clients, making calls to new clients, following up with your leads, checking in on your leads, making sure you move your leads to close. Like, these are steps that you want to be doing ongoing that are your actual income producing activities. Whoever is on your team that is helping to generate that revenue, that's important that they know the KPIs and the IPAs. That not everybody on your team may be doing IPAs. There may be people on your team that are only responsible, like on our team with our agency, we have people who just focus on the creative deliverables. That's what they do. They go in, they're working on whatever website project that we're doing for a client. So they're not necessarily actively involved with an income producing activity. They're focused on a KPI, but somebody else on the team might be focused on an IPA. You as an owner, typically you cross into both categories. You have KPIs and you have some IPAs. You would take those IPAs and run through that same process. You want to know, what are these activities? What are the top yielding ones? I need to set it to a checklist, and I need to make sure every day I'm doing it. Within your top 5, you may have 3 key performance indicators, and 2 IPAs. Like it may be a mixture within your top 5, or you might have 5 KPIs over here and 2 or 3 IPAs. However you structure it is fine. You just want to make sure that you have that in front of you. And it shouldn't be no more than 10 in total. If you have 5 KPIs, 5 IPAs, it definitely shouldn't be any more than 10. Like you don't want to be doing more than 10 activities within a given day. I think it's best to establish no more than 5. So if you can truncate it down to 5, I think that's best so that you don't feel overwhelmed. Because at the end of the goal is not to be overwhelmed in what you're doing. The end of the goal is to win the day. So here's why this is important. Because it allows you to create both efficiency and effectiveness. So not only are you able to become a leaner, tighter, more efficient operation, it makes you more effective in terms of taking advantage of opportunities. Because now when you get that level of high yielding activities, you are now in position to build and create a high performing team. If you have a team of individuals who are constantly focused on their KPIs and IPAs and actually report on those in meetings, audit those on a weekly and monthly basis, I mean, how can you not create a high performing team? And what that does for you and your business, it gives you a competitive edge against your competitors. Because I promise you, a lot of them are not doing this. They're not. And they're larger businesses that aren't even doing this that way. There are companies with hundreds of people on staff who are not performing at a high level. They don't even know day to day what are the highest yielding activities that they should be doing. You know, people are just kind of performing whatever task that they're handed. And those tasks aren't even properly audited and assessed. So it gives you a competitive edge, but it also leads to acceleration. Because when you have this type of day-to-day functionality, you can really cut out a lot of bull and excess, what I like to call reducing waste in your company. You can reduce a whole lot of waste and leakage in your company of time drain and brain drain, because now you guys are operating more efficiently, more effectively, which can now allow you to accelerate. And within a span of months, you can see major progress in your business. So those are the biggest things I want to talk about. KPIs, IPAs, they're important. And I'll say this, when they are done correctly, it will help you align your daily activities with your desired outcomes. So when you actually are taking the time to set these things up and implement them, it's gonna help you truly align your daily activities with your desired outcomes. So no longer do you have to be wondering, am I getting to the goal? Because not only am I winning the day, I'm actually winning the month and then ultimately winning the year. And now I can look at the performance of my operation and see growth. I can see us actually accomplishing our objectives and goals each year, reaching our desired outcomes because we've established a clearly defined day-to-day operations and activities. So I hope that was helpful. Make sure you follow us. I would love for you to subscribe to this channel. So hit that, hit the like button. And if you have a comment, please leave a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are. If this is something that you implement currently in your organization, if you have some other tips and ideas around what your experience has been like implementing that, please let us know. If you would like to work with us at Fourth Park with our agency, we'd love to work with you. Definitely click the link in our description and fill out our form. We have a free alignment assessment that we would love to do with you, and look for opportunities where we can awaken possibility.